Today's video is brought to you by Upstart. Hey brother! Guys, thanks to COVID, 2020 has been like the lightest year, pun intended. Hold on, I'll pause for laughter. And praise. You're too much. Okay. The lightest year for new content and movies coming out at all, which is wild coming off of 2019, which closed out so many things like Game of Thrones and Star Wars Episode 9 and Frozen 2, Toy Story 4, live action Lion King and Aladdin, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Far From Home, and oh yeah, Endgame. But as of last weekend, it looks like the dam is about to break, at least on the Disney side of things, because they announced like 50 new projects they're working on, and honestly, I don't even know which one I'm the most excited about. There are at least 3 new Star Wars live action shows clearly inspired by the success of The Mandalorian, tons of Marvel movies and shows, the new Disney musical, and Canto. Seriously, it was a lot of information all at once. It kind of felt like I was drinking from a fire hose, but I also kind of loved it because this year has been really dry, and at times felt like I was on fire. But that said, by the end of 2020, Pixar is still going to have managed to release 2 brand new original movies this year. Onward and Soul, which is amazing. And as ever, Pixar was the studio that managed to capture my attention the most last week with their announcement of their brand new movie, Lightyear, which will tell the origin story of the real Buzz Lightyear that the toy is based on. Which is such a fun idea, and I'm so excited, but it also raises a lot of questions because the toy Buzz Lightyear already has quite a bit of backstory that they're going to have to account for, including but not limited to an evil intergalactic robot and a Death Star-like weapon that can destroy planets. And if the toy was based on a real guy in the Pixar universe, does that also then mean that Zurg was real too? Like, are they actually gonna be related? How is it all going to play out? Well, today, find out. Guys, before we dive on in, we need to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Upstart. Now, as always, financial responsibility is a big deal, so make sure you are doing your research and making the best decision for you. Now, there's a lot of economic chatter at the moment about the state of the market, like how long will it take to recover? How's it doing? Was Buzz Lightyear a real person? I'm trying to lighten the mood. But it can be a little daunting, and if one of the things you're struggling with is paying off high interest credit card debt, then great news, there's actually something you can do right now. By right now, I mean like after the video. Upstart is a revolutionary new lending platform that knows that you are more than just your credit score. They take into consideration things like your job history in order to reward you with a better rate. And they make it fast and simple to check your rate, and because it's just a soft pull, it won't even affect your credit score. There is a hard pull only if you accept the rate and then move forward with the application. But the best part is if your loan is approved, most people get their funds the next day, and it's all online, so you don't have to worry about going to a bank. See why Upstart has over 6,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot, and head to upstart.com/SCB today to find out how low your rate can be. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. Again, that is upstart.com/SCB. Link is in the description down below. Right out of the gate, a Lightyear movie poses a ton of questions like, wait a minute, Buzz Lightyear not voiced by Tim Allen? How do, Pixar, how do? Well, for one, he's actually gonna be voiced by Chris Evans, so that's a very good start. But for second, and this is the part that gets me excited, it's not meant to be a movie of the in-universe Buzz Lightyear action figure like we've seen in some of Rex's video game endeavors. That's to say, it's not the Buzz Lightyear, the action figure story, nor is it the story of Andy's specific Buzz Lightyear. It's the story of the in-universe real person who was apparently so heroic that he became a household name, a child's plaything, a action figure. Okay, thanks, Woody. I think I had it, but fine, that was good. But over the course of the last 4 Toy Story movies, we have learned a lot about what the real Buzz Lightyear must have been like based on what the toy Buzz Lightyear believes about himself when he thinks he's a space ranger. For example, he tells Woody,
right now poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been secretly building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness.
All right, we get it, Buzz. You're Princess Leia. Very good, very good. And we also know from Toy Story 2 that Zurg ends up being Buzz's father.
You killed my father!
No, Buzz. I am your father.
We get it, Buzz. You're Princess Leia. Very good. Very good. He's even almost got like the cinnamon bun things going on inside of his head, doesn't he? We also get this awesome commercial from inside Sid's house revealing that
Buzz Lightyear, the world's greatest superhero, now the world's greatest toy!
Is it weird that as a kid watching that commercial made me want the action figure more than watching Toy Story itself? That sentence though is one I've been pondering on for a long time, because when they say the world's greatest action hero, I've never known like in universe if that meant Buzz was a real live person that was an action hero, or if Buzz was like a character in a movie that the toy was based upon. But actually, with the announcement of the Lightyear movie, I think it might be both. So another thing we learn in Toy Story 2 is that Woody's Roundup is canceled promptly after the launch of Sputnik in 1957.
2 words, Sputnik. Once the astronauts went up, children only wanted to play with space toys.
Also, fun fact, this absolutely did happen within the Pixar universe. You can actually see Sputnik when Wally is leaving Earth right here. We also know that Toy Story 1 takes place in 1995, thanks to the license plate on Andy's mom's car. Also, in case you missed it, there was an A113 Easter egg right there. It's kind of hard to see, you gots to squint. Point is, Sputnik was Earth's very first satellite ever to launch into space, and between then and Toy Story happening is only 38 years, which might sound like a lot, but it's really not that much time when you're going from your first unmanned satellite going into space to jetpack wearing, laser shooting, single man spacecraft fighting interstellar threats. And actually it's even less time than that, because you have to account for the time it takes for the actual Buzz to do the things that he becomes famous for, and then for like the toys to be produced. So like less than 38 years. Though to be fair, this is Pixar. And if you buy into the Pixar theory, then at least by the time The Incredibles has happened, you know Syndrome is already producing rockets. And of course, we know that eventually humans really master space travel by the time of WALL-E with the advent of things like the Axiom. However, even within the Pixar theory, I don't think that allows for enough technological advancement to see the kind of Buzz versus Zurg showdown you see during Rex's video games. Instead, what I think is going to happen is that the real Chris Evans Buzz is indeed going to save the Earth from some version of Zurg. But that Zurg will probably not be an intergalactic planet-destroying threat. Instead, at best, I think he may very well threaten the entire planet in some way, which is why Buzz defeating him will make him such an iconic hero and household name. Then, after his heroic deeds become more widely known, a more fictional and embellished version of Buzz's story will be turned into a movie within the world of Toy Story. And that version of Buzz is who the toy will be based on. So for clarity, that means real person Buzz will save the planet and become so famous, they make a fictional version of him that becomes really popular, and that version of him is what they will make a toy of.
Action figure!
Okay, Woody, I told you before, I've got it. With that said though, let me back up for a second and fill in some of the gaps for you, because there's actually a ton of evidence that supports this particular storyline. First of all, such a movie already exists within the world of Toy Story. Does anyone remember the show Buzz Lightyear of Star Command? Well, I'm sure some of you definitely do, but if you don't feel bad. It came out between 2000 and 2001 and just for 2 seasons, and for some reason isn't on Disney Plus right now. But the show shows the adventures of the real Buzz Lightyear and his many adventures to defeat Zurg. Now, personally, I never watched the show as a kid, but I do remember that they launched the show with a straight-to-DVD movie, which we did rent and watch over and over and over. Seriously, I think we had it for like 3 days, watched it 5 times, and then sent it back to the video store, and I completely forgot it existed. Do you remember watching that movie?
Only very vaguely.
Ben doesn't even remember it, but we watched it several times. For some reason, only in Ben and Tyler's room, even though we had a TV downstairs and the screen in their room was like this big. The point is that in that movie, you see Woody and Buzz and Rex and the rest of the gang get that movie and put it into Andy's VCR, and then they are all watching it and you're kind of watching it with them. So In Toy Story, there is already a movie about Buzz that portrays Buzz in the way that he thinks of himself before he realizes he's a toy. And now, with the announcement of Lightyear, it seems like we're going to get the story of the real Buzz Lightyear that inspired that movie inside the world of Toy Story. You got it? I know, this is a lot to keep track of. That would account for not just all of the hyper-futuristic gadgets and gizmos that the Buzz Lightyear action figure has.
Please be careful. You don't want to be in the way when my laser goes off.
It's not a laser, it's a little light bulb that blinks.
But also for the crazy popularity of the toy in general and all of the associated merch that goes along with him, like bed sheets.
Okay, it's bed sheets.
Who invited that kid?
This would also not contradict the commercial at Sid's house, but it does leave us with another question, which is, what about Zurg? Glad you asked. So Zurg himself, despite giving off obvious Darth Vader vibes, like, you know, having his own Death Star and having a twist father reveal and twins, I guess, is actually based on the $6 Million Man. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the $6 Million Man, it ran from 1973 to 1978 and tells the story of Steve Austin. Steve is an astronaut in training, but after suffering a terrible accident during a NASA test flight, he is rebuilt with superhuman strength, speed, and vision thanks to bionic implants. Okay, I know we're showing Captain America there, but not that Steve. And oh, that actor, but he's playing Buzz, not Zurg. Sorry, that was confusing. So if I had to guess, in Lightyear, Zurg will probably not be some intergalactic evil emperor, but probably one of Buzz's fellow cadets, or possibly even his father. Buzz will believe that character to be dead, only to find out later they've been put back together $6 Million Man / Darth Vader style. And now, having been put back together with all these robotic enhancements, they will be threatening the Earth in some way, and Buzz will have to go save the day. And if I had to guess, he's probably going to win using a really fancy prototype spacesuit or something that has all the associated gadgets you might expect to defeat Zurg. Which, by the way, if this is indeed the explanation they go with for Zurg and they do not give him a claw for a hand, that is the missed opportunity of the century. Also, bonus points if in the movie he has a love interest who happens to look like Jessie. Just, you know, red hair and a braid. I think that's enough. That'd be awesome. Also, actually, final left field prediction, but here's what I think could happen, that in order to defeat Zurg, he will have to blast off into hyperspace with no return ticket. And the final thing he says will be, to infinity and beyond. Chills, you guys. Him not being there would also account for like the more fictional version of him then being recreated down on Earth as well, just saying. But there you go, guys. In conclusion, this Buzz is based on this Buzz, which is based on this Buzz, which is based on this Buzz. And Zurg is a cyborg. Got it?
Right now, poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been secretly building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness.
We get it, you're Princess Leia. But Ben, my question for you and everyone else is, what of Disney's many announcements are you looking forward to the most? And do you think this is the storyline they will pursue? Will Zurg really be an evil emperor robot or some rebuilt version of someone Buzz used to know? Let me know all your thoughts in the towel section down below. And hey guys, speaking of twins, we have recently relaunched the Jonathan Carlin family vlog. So if you want to see how my twins are doing, you can check out this video right here. I'm also gonna play a quick preview for you right here from my son Luke's birthday. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you at the vlog. Good morning!
How many?
Many!
Look at those balloons! That many balloons?
Yeah, there's a Minnie balloon and a Mickey balloon.
I want that one.
Okay, here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.